Hey, everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. Can you believe it? 2 weeks in a row. 2 dead not dead villains and 2 couches destroyed. I'm sorry, but the Newmans cannot use that cream-colored couch ever again. 2 people sat there this week with bloody gunshot wounds spilling out onto both ends of the couch. You can't dry clean that. No way. If that cream-colored couch survives and is used in future scenes, then I am going to call BS and say that this show isn't really real after all. I'm going to say it's all totally fake. Man. I mean, Victor just redecorated the place, too. Everything in the ranch is fresh and clean and new, and now the idea that he has to go out and replace the new couch. I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it. Wow, what a totally dramatic week. I feel like we just have to start from the top, okay? We'll just start from the beginning. So at the beginning of the week, Ian goes back to the motel hotel room, thinking that he's going to find his lady love. But instead, he finds Michael Baldwin. And I just have to say, cannot skip saying that I loved the pre-Valentine's moment where Ian was standing there with a rose and Michael said, "Is that for Jordan? Because you should have brought lilies." Damn! Who wrote that line? That was so cold and so good. Man, I mean, I don't know. I didn't think that Ian and Jordan had some great love story, but apparently Ian really loved Jordan in his own sick and twisted way because he went absolutely berserk after he found out that she was dead. Well, that she took her own life. That's what we're calling it. She took her own life. But Ian knew that there was more to the story. He knew that the Newmans were fully responsible, and he's right. But Michael and the security guard, that guy, they dragged Ian down to the ranch, right into the living room, and they were trying to get him to sign a confession to Heather's murder. And when he wouldn't do it, Victor's security guard started to get up and try to get him up out of the chair, get Ian up out of the chair. He was trying to rough him up. He was literally trying to pull this old man up out of the chair and give him the work over. And wouldn't you know it, the old man was somehow able to grab the gun out of the guard's jacket, I guess, and then just turn the tables right around on them. I mean, Victor's security team once again fail. Now Ian's got a gun and he's pointing it at Victor and Nick and Michael, and he's really enjoying having this power over the rich and powerful Newmans. He's totally turned the tables. But then he has this moment where he realizes, Well, these aren't all Newmans. Michael is not a Newman, and so he offers to let Michael go. And now, okay, this part, you guys are going to kill me, but this part was the biggest freaking deal to me. Michael Baldwin said, "No, I'm not leaving. Victor has been there for me more than my own father has." He said, quote, "Everything I learned about family loyalty, I learned from you," end quote. Hold up. Record scratch. What the? How did? I don't. Michael thinks of Victor as a father? What? Michael thinks of Victor as a father? Okay, that makes me want to puke. I'm sorry, but that completely does not track for me. Okay, granted, Michael Baldwin is one of my all-time favorite characters, and so I feel very specific about him. But I have never, ever gotten father-son vibes out of that whole arrangement. No. They are peers. They are intellectual equals. I'm sorry, just because Victor is the godfather doesn't mean that he has to be Michael's father too. I wholly reject that statement. And I will hereby strike it from the record of my mind. Like it never happened. Everything I learned about family loyalty, I learned from you? Enter Adam onto the scene, 20 minutes later, waving, "Hi, Pops, I'm your actual son. And everything I learned about family loyalty, I learned by doing the opposite of you." Oh my gosh. Victor's been there for me more than my own father. Just imagine Adam would have been in that scene, quietly waving in the corner, saying, "Wow, that must be nice." All right, moving on. Let the record reflect my disgust. So then Nikki and Victoria and Claire come down the stairs at the ranch to see what all the hubbub's about. Nikki, I guess, was upstairs getting Claire and Victoria settled into their guest rooms because Victoria was like, "Oh, I have no problem sitting on Jordan's death couch, but I'm not going to do it tonight, okay? I need one night to recover." But then, boom, they all become hostages too. Ian told Victor to call Abby so that the whole family could be there to die together. Victor's been there for me more than my own father. Imagine Abby quietly joining Adam in the corner, waving and saying, "Wow, that must be nice." I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go. Victor didn't actually call Abby. He didn't actually call his daughter down to be held hostage. He did call Adam, though. He did call Adam down to walk into his own death. But I'm just going to assume that Victor felt that Adam could be of some use. Abby's a young mother. Better to let her live. But now all the Newmans, sans Abby, are present. And the next part is very long. One by one, all the Newmans have something to say to Ian, and one by one, Ian has something clever and maniacal to say back. It was all beautifully acted, and it was great to see so much of the cast together in one scene. But it was long, and I am sick, and I am not going to recap every blow of it. I'll just skip to the good parts. Although it was all quite good. So, the whole time that everybody's talking back and forth, Victor is just sitting there in the chair with everyone standing behind him. And now that's pretty normal these days. Eric Braeden is 83 years old. He usually starts the scene standing up, but then he has a seat. The man has earned a seat. But in this scene, it was notable that he was just sitting. And he was the only one sitting. And everyone else was standing up behind him. And the fact that he was sitting for so long is why the moment that he actually did stand up was super mega ultra dramatic. Victor tells Ian to take him and let everyone else go. No one dies but me. No, wait, no. No one dies but me. Sorry, I had to channel my Victor impersonation. Well, Ian points the gun toward Nikki, and that makes Victor lunge toward Ian. And then Ian actually has the nerve to fire off the gun, hitting Victor, I guess, in the gut? Like in the stomach? It went all the way through? He was holding his stomach. But what I don't understand was why Ian had the nerve to fire off the gun in the first place, but then he didn't have the nerve to finish the job. He didn't have the nerve to keep firing. I was thinking, Ian, dude, you shot him once. You're going to stop now? The evil villain's just going to stop with one bullet and let everyone tell him to back off while they all gather around Victor? Okay. I mean, it's your funeral. Because while Ian was sort of bumbling around in the ruckus of Victor getting shot, although not effectively, Victor then lunges at Ian, hops on top of him, on the cream-colored couch, and then we just see and hear and feel the gun blast, which was sort of cushioned by both of their bodies. And that was great because there was just this brief second where you don't know who was hit. And yet you know perfectly well who was hit. Nick grabs the gun. Michael calls the cops. And Ian stumbles off into his death chair. Sorta. Yeah, Victor goes back to the couch. The family is crowded around him. Claire comes in with like 2 tiny white hand towels to soak up the blood. White. It's always white. That's your cue that something bloody's gonna happen, all the extra white. And a hand towel. I'm sorry, but that was so frustrating. Like, Claire, dang it, get a bath towel at least. Or a blanket. Anything bigger than the tiny little hand towel that you put in the guest bathroom. You might as well have been soaking up the blood with a Kleenex. So ineffective. Oh, well, I guess the Kleenexes were all reserved for the tears of the moment. When Victoria tells Victor, no, don't close your eyes, Dad. Just stay awake. Don't fall asleep. Just look at Mom. And he does. And Victor looks into Nikki's eyes and he says to her, you are so beautiful. And we all melt. The romance among the ruin. I mean, if it's Victor's time to go, he wants to go, admiring his baby, admiring his beauty. It was very romantic. It was so romantic that Y&R showed it twice. In fact, those final moments were all so dramatic, Y&R showed them twice. We could have just directed Chance to watch that 30-second recap that they did, and then, you know, we wouldn't have had to waste any time explaining the whole thing to him. Just watch the recap, Chance. I feel bad for Chance. He's always a step behind. He's had some good moments in this, but he's always a step behind. I really thought that Nikki and Victor had some kind of, interesting moments in the ambulance. It was kind of funny. Victor's like bleeding to death, and Nikki is scolding him for putting himself in harm's way. For her, it was cute. It was really cute. But boy, whoever the medics were that arrived at the ranch, they really bungled things with Ian. They immediately declared him dead with little to no fanfare. They were like, yeah, he's gone. And then they left his body laying around in the living room with the victims. So I guess the victims decided to have sort of a makeshift funeral. Mariah and Tessa showed up after hearing the sirens. Don't worry, everybody. Tessa's okay. She just forgot to charge the car. Oh, Tessa. Wah wah. Mariah was aching. She thought that her wife and child had been kidnapped by this monster. Ian had abducted Mariah as a baby, so Mariah knows it's right in his wheelhouse, and she's just imagining all of the horrible things that could be happening to her family. It was so raw, and I do have to say that Cameron Grimes did a great job. She was clutching onto Aria's little binky, and the phone calls that she made to Tessa's voicemail just to hear her voice. I mean, it was all heart-wrenching. And then it was all just so, like, doy? Tessa rang the doorbell at Sharon's house, and it was like, wait, was that the doorbell, or was that Tessa? 'Cause she's such a ding-dong. She forgot to charge the phone and the car. But oh well, if you were Mariah, if you were in Mariah's shoes, that is the best possible outcome. You would just hope that there was some kind of fluke explanation and that everyone is fine. And oh well, it all worked out. But, so, when Mariah and Tessa and Sharon got up to the ranch, they saw Ian's dead body, and they decided to have a couple of words with him. Nikki had said, had talked to him prior, and then Sharon needed to have her say about Heather. I mean, Sharon has no love lost for Ian, but I thought it was interesting that she softened a lot toward Cameron this week. I wasn't really expecting to see Cameron Kirsten again this week. Then again, he always pops up when I least expect it. But I'm assuming now that the days of seeing him are going to be over, because Sharon basically said goodbye to Cameron and then sealed it with a cheek kiss. She let him kiss her on the cheek, which on the one hand is repulsive, I mean, the softening that Sharon had toward Cameron, it's like, well, he raped her. Okay, he tortured her. He represented everything evil in the world inside of her. But then, I guess, in a way, that's what was poignant about it, because Sharon was not only saying goodbye to Cameron, but she was saying goodbye to that darkness that had taken root within her. I think in some ways making peace with Cameron represented Sharon making peace with herself. And I think that's also what Mariah was trying to do when she said goodbye to Ian. She said, I thought of you as a father. And I thought, as I was listening to Mariah, I thought, man, I wish we would have had more scenes reminding us of that. We needed to see those black and white flashbacks that we got this week a month ago. She told him, you wanted to beat me. You wanted to win, but I have a great life now, and so that means you didn't beat me after all. It was all very good, and it was all very final, until Ian was being transported away in the ambulance, and then suddenly, pop, his eyes fly open. What does that mean? He should have been so dead by then. I mean, if he wasn't dead by then neither was Jordan. I mean, I don't know, or maybe was the eyes popping open? Was it just showing that he was dead, or was he alive? I mean, it's ambiguous. Was it just the evil spirit reincarnating him? I don't know. I don't think that he should get to be alive, and Jordan is still dead, not dead. I don't know. I think maybe for a poll question this week, I should ask you guys if you want that to be true. Would you like to see Ian Ward make a return in the future, or do you feel like you're ready for this to be the end for him? YRChat.com. I'd love to get some comments on that. I mean, I personally would like to see both Ian and Jordan return in the future. I think their story was a total success for me. And don't forget, dead not dead always applies in soaps. Always. Well, actually, Jordan is kind of dead not dead, but Ian is sort of dead, psych, not dead. It's a subtle difference. There are times on Y&R when you can really feel that the show is in a transition, and now it's definitely one of those times. We are clearly wrapping up the old stories, and we're starting to see little sprouts of new stories that are going to emerge up out of the ground, and we will water them for spring. Sharon's been cleared of all charges, and Daniel had that moment this week of trying to make peace with the new information that Ian Ward killed Heather. Although, by the way, I thought Jordan did it. I thought Jordan said she did it on Ian's behalf, but now it's being explained as Ian did it. So I don't know. Is it meant to be vague? I'm lost on that. Maybe you guys can tell me this week who actually killed Heather. Then again, maybe I missed something. I'm in a cold medicine haze. But yeah, so Daniel's having to make peace with what happened to Heather. But then next week, he's getting a job offer right alongside Phyllis to work with Billy. So that'll be maybe some news story for him. Billy told Sally this week that he's considering doing something in media. That's what he wants his new business to be, media. That's where his interest lies. And oh well, if that puts him into direct competition with Adam. Adam. So Adam has just inherited the ranch this week. And he was really thinking a lot about what would have happened if Victor had died. He told Nick that he was, trying to figure out what his place in the family would be if Victor had died, or what it will be when the inevitable happens. And Nick's response was that he and Victoria will accept Adam based on his actions, not on whether their father is living or not. I don't know. It was weird and curious. It almost seems to be foreshadowing some kind of turn for Adam's character. I don't know what would be the catalyst for that. Will Nick pick up a relationship with Chelsea while she's living with Adam? I don't know. But then we have the Nate story, which seems to be kicking off next week as Damien arrives in Genoa City. So, hey, one door closes, but a bunch of new doors have opened up. It seems like we have a lot to look forward to. And I am looking forward to a nap. My energy has waned. I started off half hour ago with some decent energy, and now I'm like, oh man, bed, need it now. Um, but just because I'm going to stop talking about Y&R and go take a nap doesn't mean that you have to stop thinking about Y&R and talking about Y&R and go take a nap. You can continue the conversation at yrchat.com. All the week's stuff is there. I'm reading it, looking at it, and I hope you go through it, scour through it too, because there were some good comments this week that you should go check out. Even though I'm not going to have time to read anything this week. But I'm sure that I will be back next Sunday feeling much better, and I'm going to look forward to that. I love you guys, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.